chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Ohio Congressman, and our good friend Jim Jordan. Mr. Chairman, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us here in person.
Thanks for having me.
We know the Senate's going to make changes. That's what they do.
Yeah.
But how much is too much for the House?
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully don't make too many changes because I think it's a pretty darn good bill. I said this on the House floor. You know it's a good bill because the Democrats hate it. And they hate it because it embraces fundamental Republican principles. It says we're going to cut taxes. We let families keep more of their money, fundamental principle of our party. It says that we're going to allocate resources to keep the border secure, what the election was about. It says if you're an able-bodied adult and you're getting taxpayer money, you should have to work, for goodness sake. That treats taxpayers with respect and frankly is good for that individual, good for that individual who's stuck in our safety net system. And then finally, the part that I really like as well is it gives school choice to parents. Important part of the tax provision in the legislation. So I think it's a good bill. I wish we had achieved a little more savings, but overall I think it's good. I hope the Senate doesn't change it a whole lot. Maybe if they can achieve a few more savings. I know Senator Johnson wants to do that. So if we can get that, that's great. But let's stay mostly where it is because I do think it's a delicate balance. And as you know, we passed it by one vote.
So we know that deadline is looming, right? That July 4th deadline. Is that a realistic goal in your opinion?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, because, even though it's been in the House this, longer time, it's not like the Senate hasn't been watching what's going on, hasn't weighed in, and there haven't been some meetings. And, of course, Leader Thune is talking with the president, talking with the speaker. So I do think it can happen by then. I know that's what the president wants. That's what I think Leader Thune wants, certainly what the House wants. And, frankly, I think it's good for the country because I do think this legislation will spark greater economic growth. And the numbers are already looking good. You saw, like in the last week, consumer confidence is up, inflation is down, the unemployment's low, so things are looking good. This bill, I think, helps get even stronger economic growth, which we certainly need.
No, absolutely. So I want to shift gears here a little bit. Your counterparts in the Senate Judiciary Committee holding a hearing today on the judges and all of their nationwide injunctions. I know that's something, Senator Cruz, you are very passionate about. I mean, is this something where the Supreme Court is going to have to step in and kind of rein in these judges? Or do you think it's something where Congress may have to say, enough is enough, guys?
I think we should look at every avenue possible to try to stop these judges from acting like they're the President of the United States. So, as you know, we passed legislation which says if a federal district judge issues an injunction, the injunction doesn't apply nationwide. It simply applies to the parties in the case in that respective jurisdiction. We think that's just good common sense. In fact, even Justice Kagan, not a conservative justice, even she said a few years ago, we need to rein this in. It's getting out of control. And it seems like, if you look at the numbers, disproportionately has impacted executive actions that President Trump has taken. So we passed it out of committee. We passed it out of the House. Best thing the Senate can do is pass the bill and put it on the president's desk and deal with it. But short of that, you're probably right. This thing's going to get settled probably in the Supreme Court, like a lot of other issues that you see in the court system right now.
Yeah.
I want to pivot to President Biden. I know that your fellow Congressman James Comer is launching an investigation into this massive cover-up, as to who knew what and when in regards to his mental decline. I know he wants to subpoena some of those that were closest to him, again, to see were we being lied to as the American people. What do you think we will learn from this investigation, if anything?
I think we already know. I mean, I think it's worthwhile what Chairman Comer's doing. But I read Tapper's book last week. I had to fly to Iowa and we were helping some colleagues in Iowa and on the flight back and forth. Everyone knew. It's funny. I think the big takeaway for me is the press. I mean, you guys were reporting the facts, but the mainstream press was telling us, oh no, everything is fine. I always say the left has a template that they follow. The left will tell a lie. Joe Biden's just fine. The left will tell a lie. Mainstream media will report the lie. Big tech will amplify the lie. And then when you tell the truth, they call you a racist or some other name and attack you. And then pretty soon your position is proven right, but by that point they're on to the next lie. But the country understood it. So that to me is the big takeaway. When you read the book, there was a handful of people around the president and the first lady who sort of controlled it all. Zients and Klain and Ricchetti and these key people around the president, according to Tapper's book. So maybe it'd be good to hear from them. But I think some of them will claim executive privilege and won't want to talk. But we'll see what kind of information we get. But I think the country's already figured it out and had figured it out.
We all have eyes, we all have ears, we all saw what was playing out.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.